Peace, 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 y'all. This is Empress Coach Rena Nicole, and this is our AM show, inspiration show to wake that ass up. And today the topic is 20 tips for emotional intelligence. Yes, please remember that we are streaming live from YouTube, Facebook, Clubhouse. Hit that greenhouse on Clubhouse called Sustainable Relationships, Spooncast, Spotify, and Anchor. Yes, so you have links everywhere. You have spaces and places to join us where you can share your experience, share the rooms, share the stages, and let's get down to the nitty gritty. I'm gonna give y'all 30 more seconds of this chill vibe, and we're gonna hop right into 20 tips of emotional intelligence. Peace, peace, y'all. Okay, so welcome back. Today is Sunday, September 25th, 2022. We are still under Mercury's retrograde, and also we are just off of the spring, the fall. We are right off of the autumn equinox. I said the spring, the fall. Whoa, okay, slow down, sis. Now, let's get into emotional intelligence. So, emotional intelligence literally is how well that we identify and manage our emotions and how we respond to the emotions of others. It's understanding how emotions shape our thoughts and actions so we can have greater control over our behaviors and develop the skills to manage ourselves more effectively. Now, becoming more conscious allows us to grow and gain deeper understanding of who we are, enabling us to communicate better with others and build stronger, sustainable relationships. Yes, honey. Okay. So let's talk about it. What is the first tip in, achieving emotional intelligence? The first tip in achieving emotional intelligence is always self-awareness. Okay. Practicing observing how you feel. So often, we exist in this chaotic realm with busy lifestyles, and it's very, very easy for us to lose touch within our own emotions. To reconnect, we can try setting a timer for various points during the day. Yo, that is one of my go-tos. I set alarms for everything. Um, and when a timer goes off as well, you can set it for your deep breathing. But a lot of us, we are already practicing just complete nose breathing. We don't use our mouths to breathe. So that's something you can do because it's helping you to pay attention if you're feeling some type of way emotionally, where that emotion is stemming from, and it shows up as a physical feeling, so you can identify what the sensation feels like. The more you practice it, the more you'll become like a second nature to you, and being self-aware also aligns you with your core values. So if you're doing something or behaving in a way that you might not like, you also have that reflection time and that reevaluation time to be like, you know what? I didn't like that. I didn't like that I did that. And it will help you to change behavior in the future so you can have a more balanced, more balanced emotional intelligence. Okay. So being aware also involves this, for the second part, is paying attention to how you behave. Self-awareness, is not only in what you think and how you feel, is what actions are you putting out there, how are you showing up in the action manner, like in the physical realm, how are you showing up? Okay, so practicing your emotional awareness takes a lot of time, but noticing your behavior too will help you observe how you act and when you're experiencing certain emotions, okay? And it often affects your day-to-day existence. So managing emotions becomes easier once you become more conscious of how you're reacting to them. A lot of people are not conscious to after the fact. And they're like, oh, I didn't mean to say that to you. Oh, didn't mean to do that, because they're not in control. They're not self-aware that this is what comes out of them when they're not gauging the full spectrum of their emotions. Okay. So a great tip, the next step is a great tip, is to question your own opinions. Just because you may think something doesn't mean it's aligning with how you actually, perceive this existence, how you actually want to live. So, in a hyper connected world that we're living in, it's easy to fall into an opinion bubble. Okay. It's a state of existence where your own opinions are constantly reinforced by people with similar viewpoints. Like, it's like constantly validated. And that's not cool, okay? So taking the time to read the other side of the story and have your views challenged, even if you still feel that you are right, it will help you to understand other people and to be more receptive of new ideas, feelings, emotions, and experiences. Okay. That's completely important, to question your own opinions. And most people that do not question their own, they are not really flexible. They are not really set up in a way where they have that emotional intelligence to understand where someone else is coming from, even if it's a possibility that that means that they are possibly, you know, uh, not aligning with what's going on. Okay, I don't like, focusing too hard on right or wrong, because I do feel that if someone's living in the nature that they feel is right, even if we feel is wrong, we're not living in that nature of them, if that makes any sense. So I want to be absolutely clear on why I, stopped, and I didn't backpedal, but I made it clear that, you know, um, I don't go too hard on the right and wrong and the good and the bad. I do go hard on principle and morals. That's the difference. Now, um, taking responsibility for your own feelings is a big major step, because a lot of the time it's so easy to deflect. Okay, it's so easy to justify. It's very hard for people to gauge responsibilities for their own feelings and realize that their emotions and behavior come from themselves, and they don't come from anyone else. And once they start accepting that, you know um it will definitely have a more high vibrational impact on how they show up, how they manage, and how they gauge what they're actually feeling. Okay. Now, taking time is the next one. Taking time to, just like yesterday, we had this same exact tip for something else. But taking that time to acknowledge the positive, where you've been emotionally, is very healthy for you. Okay. A key point in emotional intelligence is celebrating and reflecting on the high vibrational moments in life. Okay. People who experience high vibrational moments are generally more resilient and more likely to have fulfilling relationships, which will help them move past adversity. Right. It goes right back into the beginning, on episode 1, when we talked about gaining the knowledge on something, then practicing it. Okay. Or quote unquote, people like to say, study to show thyself approval. Okay. Then persevering through it so you can have a full spectrum of what is really going on. So when you take the time to celebrate the positive, okay, it allows you to have more fulfilling relationships. All right. Now, not ignoring the negative. Is so many people out here that make this mistake. Oh my, I had to throw the horns on, because so many people make this mistake of ignoring the negative. Okay. And when you reflect on low vibrational feelings, they are just as important as high vibrational feelings. So you need to gauge and understand why you may be feeling low vibrational, to become a fully rounded individual. And this is why I say that a lot of people wear these positivity masks, this toxic positivity. We're going to get more into that tomorrow on our podcast. That's going to be a topic tomorrow. We're going to talk about toxic positivity because so many people are practicing it. And it's like, it's such a turn off, and so many people I've moved away from and elevated beyond them because they couldn't get past their toxic positivity, where they only focus on positive, 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 and they refuse to be, acknowledge the negative because that makes them accountable. This is why they refuse to acknowledge the negative in their existence or how they're showing up, because they feel like it points a finger at them and it disturbs their image that they decide that they're living, or anything of that nature, and they're not with it. They're with anything that makes them look good. They're not with anything that holds them responsible for their own damn actions. So we have to be mindful about ignoring negative, because it will help you to navigate through low vibrational or quote unquote negative experiences in the future. Okay. Now, I always tell people the biggest step in emotional intelligence is what? Breathing. Breathing. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. But remembering to breathe is so important, because life throws us in so many different which ways, so many paths, so many journeys. And we go through so many different experiences, and it's always constant. It's not a thing where it actually just stops in its tracks. So managing our emotions while we're experiencing life helps us, to avoid outbursts, you know, um, them angry outbursts and different things of that nature. It helps us to, have more patience. And a lot of things along with breathing we can try is drinking water, getting fresh air if we can in that moment, or reminding yourself that this is just a moment in my day. This is not the rest of my life. Will help you, like I said before, to gauge, stop, reevaluate, and manage your emotions in a moment where you're feeling overwhelmed or overexerted. Okay? Now, something that people need to realize, because a lot of people feel like, okay, I went through the self development thing with Coach Rena Nicole. I went through this thing with Empress. She taught me these things, and now I have it, and I don't feel different. Like I said before, you gain the knowledge and you practice and you persevere for the rest of your existence. It never stops. Self development never stops. And I want to make that absolutely clear, because a lot of the times people think that, oh, I burned sage, so now everything going to change in my life. Oh, I took a session with a coach, so now my life is aligned and it's perfect. That's not really a healthy way to go about things. A healthier disposition to have would be to recognize that life is a process and it's a journey. And although you may have learned those skills, now you have to develop them for the rest of your existence. So just keeping that in mind will help you with your self awareness, because that is the next step, of course, literally, but it is also the first step as well. The ability to recognize and understand your own character, morals, emotions, and effect on others includes a realistic self assessment of what you are capable of, your strengths and your weaknesses, and knowing how others perceive you. It can help highlight areas for self improvement, make you better at adapting, and can limit wrongful decisions. Self awareness is the bomb.com, because it literally opens so many doors for you. It literally allows you to align yourself with doors that are going to open up with you, the possibilities. And it also aligns you to self reflect and grow and heal and sustain yourself. And without self awareness, you're going to be in a place of self effacement where you're damaging, harming, and living in a chaotic moment or existence where you're not well. So just having these things will help you to develop that emotional intelligence that you need to develop in whether it's your personal or interpersonal existence, okay? So keep that in mind. Dun, dun, dun. right? So just keep that in mind. I try to use my soundboard and then come on for me. and then it comes on and scares the living daylights out of everyone. I apologize for that. So let me do a quick podcast reset. This is our AM show, inspiration show to wake that ass up. I am your host, Empress Coach Rena Nicole, arenanicole.com, Divine Intervention Show and podcast. We are streaming live from YouTube, Facebook, Clubhouse, Twitter, um, Spotify, and Anchor. We are using StreamYard, and the link is located in our Clubhouse chat. So if you want to join us up on StreamYard, make sure you hit that link. If you are on Facebook and you see that link and you come across it, make sure you hit that link and join us right now while we're live. If you're on Clubhouse, raise your hand. If you're on Spooncast, make sure you hit that telephone icon and come on up and join us so we can, engage with you during this podcast and you can share your experiences on how you want to develop emotional intelligence, how you're developing emotional intelligence, or how you're learning about emotional intelligence as we speak. With that being said, let's jump back into a few more before we open up the stages and let some people up. Now, learning to look at yourself objectively is the next step. So, knowing yourself completely is difficult, okay? It's difficult. So, people are like, oh, I know myself. What? Most people don't know themselves, but they know everything about everybody else. That's the part. They know all the answers about everybody else and everything else. They don't know no answers about themselves. They can't self-reevaluate. They can self-assess you in 5.2 seconds. They can feel your energy is negative as soon as they walk in the room, all kinds of shit. But they can't do that for themselves. Dun, dun, dun. So when you ask them where's your strengths and weaknesses are, or where do they lie at, they don't know. They start talking about this person that hurt them and that person that hurt them, all kinds of trauma. So the best thing for you to do so you can gauge a look at yourself objectively is to write down what other people say to you about you and write down how you feel about yourself. And let me be absolutely clear. It's not one thought that a person to say about you should stop you from living your best life. It's okay to be self-aware. It's okay to look at things like, you know what, they're right. Not even about being right. You know what, I see that. I receive that. I see how that can be an issue, the things that I'm doing, how I'm showing up, and I'm willing to do the necessary work to change that. It should never be, oh, this person said I'm this way, so I'm this way. It should never be an absolute. There's no absolutes in, others' perceptions of how, oh, you should know that. There's no absolutes in how others perceive you. Period. Okay. Now, keeping a journal is the next step in keeping a diary. Okay, so to get an accurate gauge of yourself, it's you could write down, like we often tell you this, writing down, keeping a document details, it will help make you more aware of what you're doing. It will highlight where problems might be coming from, and periodically you can look back over your own notes about yourself and see if you're living in cycles, if you're repeating the same experiences with different people or different situations. So having a diary or a journal is completely imperative to your self-development and self-love and elevation journey, okay? Especially when you're trying to develop something like that's very important, emotional intelligence, okay? Now, being nice to yourself, okay? That's a lot. Like, most people are overly critical of themselves, and that can be a dangerous place. So emotional outbursts occur because we don't take the time to slow down and process how we're feeling. Say for instance, if someone says something to you about your relationship and they want to answer right away, but you haven't processed it. So you're like, you know what? Give me a few days to process this, what you're saying, so I can break it down, figure out how I can add value to this, whether I need to answer or whether I don't need to answer, or whether we need to move this way or whether we possibly can move that way. But when you're always answering people right away, always showing up right away, not taking the time out for yourself to stop and reflect receive things without the necessary need to respond to them, you're placing yourself in a place where you won't get rest. You're going to be placing yourself in a place of chaos. So, giving yourself a break to make a conscious effort to like meditate, possibly do yoga, read a book, using a little bit of escapism in a healthy way will create a space for the next time you have to react emotionally and allow you to pause before you respond. Okay? That's so, so important. Wow. Now, something people do not talk about. Let's go. Let's talk about it. They do not talk about their emotional triggers. Okay? So, if you are showing up in spaces that you know will emotionally trigger you, why do you continue to put yourself in that position? Dum dum dum. you know, being self-aware, you're able to recognize your emotions as they occur. It's important to be flexible with emotions and adapt them to your situations. And not denying yourself emotional, like the emotional's grace or stage time so you don't become rigid with them. So taking your time to process your emotions before communicating them. Dun, dun, dun. Say one more time. Take the time to process your emotions before communicating them. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, the suspense is killing me. Okay. So if anyone is anywhere, you're on the mic, you're off a mic, ping, you want to share, click links, then the stage is open for you. Let me head over to Spoon and see who's there. With my soundboard up, I can't really see Spoon, but I had to come check Spoon out over here, see who's here. Hey y'all, hi, welcome. Hey, my fellow Spooncasters, welcome in. How y'all doing? I hope y'all enjoying. If you want to share anything, make sure you unmute your mic. And start talking if that's the case. So I want to finish on because we're on number 14. So that means we only have a few more to go. We have 6 more to go after this one. And then we'll be complete. But I'm really enjoying myself this morning. And I hope that you are too while you're listening. Now, the next one is predicting how you feel. So thinking about a situation you're going into and predicting how you feel is not assuming, it's not projecting, it's practicing naming and accepting the feelings. So naming the feelings puts you in control, okay? It doesn't allow someone to say, "Oh, are you mad?" when you know you're not mad. When you know you're just fine. You like, I'm not mad at all. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I might not be responding how you would like me to, but it doesn't mean that I'm feeling the way you want me to feel. You know, um choosing appropriate reactions, like the example I just gave, is an extremely healthy way to the feeling than rather just reacting to like, no, I'm not the fuck mad. Who you talking to, bruh? That's not okay. And that's not emotionally intelligent either. Subjectively. Let's put subjectively on it in that. I like to throw out a little subjectively here and there and there, and there and there. You never know. You just never know. So, the all-time most important things, because our emotions are linked to our what? Dum, 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 our solar plexus chakra. Yeah. It's locally hated to our solar plexus chakra. Yes. So, what is that all about? Our intuition. Yes. So, what we want to do here is trust it. So, if you're still unsure about the path that you're taking, trust your intuition. It never lies. It warns you, like the dark alley thing. If you're a woman or if you're a man and hey, this might not be a safe thing for me to do, your gut tells you all the time. It's just that we like, you know what? It's just me. It's just nerves, and most of the time we second guess it and we get into trouble. And that's not blaming the victim. That's not blaming anyone. It's just that a lot of times we always say after something happened that, damn it, I felt it. I felt it in me and I ignored the warning. And that's how you grow. So don't blame yourself if you've been through something, especially something extremely traumatic. That is not, it's not your fault. We're here to learn and develop our skills and our, the tools we already have. So that's all the only angle we're coming from. Okay. So your subconscious is learning which path to take through your entire existence. So one experience, you know, it doesn't mean it's your fault. It's just a learning path. Unfortunately, as humans, we go through some stuff, and to anyone that's going through anything, I'm sorry that happened to you and it's not your fault. But let's get on to the next area of emotional intelligence, which is what? Self-management. Dun, dun, dun. Don't know where. I think I heard that from something. Don't know where. I just love it. Okay. So once you come to grips with self-awareness and how your emotions actually work, you can quantify them and handle self-management. So self-management is basically taking responsibility for your own behavior and well-being, as well as controlling emotional outbursts. So let's get into a few steps on how to manage our emotions, because this is the part where it gets a little, you know, yeah. So the number 16, is basically to snap out of it. So a key way to keep our emotions in check is to change your sensory input. Okay. One more time. A key way to keep our emotions in check is to change our sensory input. Okay. Our emotion dictates emotions, as the old saying goes. Motion dictates emotion, okay? So, jolting your physical body out of routine by attending an exercise class or channeling your busy mind, like decluttering with reframing thoughts, or even doing a puzzle or reading a book, anything to break your existing routine will help you to gauge a snap out of it, so you're not snapping into it, because snapping into it can be quite dangerous, okay? And you don't want to do that. Yeah. So a healthy way to manage emotions is to maintain a schedule and stay consistent with it. Because there's nothing like having a schedule that you're not even showing up for. Dun, dun, dun. Listen, ensuring that you create a schedule and stick to it is extremely important if you want to complete tasks effectively. When you schedule appointments in your calendar, you're saying to yourself, I'm going to do A, B, and C by this date, and it's going to take this amount of hours. Once you make this promise, it becomes harder to procrastinate. Okay? Procrastination leads up to frustration. Frustration leads up to emotional outbursts. And you don't need all that in your life. Listen. Yes. So let's get into a few more things, because something like I was going to get deep into, but we running out of time. So I was going to get deep into the eating well thing and how it helps you with emotions, because you have different organs that anger shows up in, like the liver and different other places where emotions, like the stomach and different things like that. So just eating well and regulating what you eat and drink can have a massive amount on your emotional state. Okay, so try your best to maintain a balanced regimen. Chill out on the alcohol, especially if you're an emotional person, because that can lead you into all kinds of trouble, including trouble with the law. Okay. Now, number 19. Let's see what that's about. is try not to get mad. Listen, I'm not saying that life doesn't happen. I'm not saying that different situations don't require different elevations. Not saying that at all. What I'm saying is to funnel your emotional energy and transmute it into something productive. To funnel it and to transmutate it into something more productive for you. Period. Okay? Now, when you're funneling emotions and you're using transmutation, it's okay to keep overwhelming emotions inside, but it's not appropriate to let them out. When you do that, rather than vent it or transmute it on something, sustainable, you can turn it into something really low vibrational. But when you do funnel it into something more sustainable, it's going to, turn into something that's going to be better for you. So just even remember, like, you know what? I'm feeling this energy. I can use this energy to write. I can use this energy to dance. I can use this energy to open up my door and shout. I can use this energy to ride a bike. I can use this energy for anything other than being mad. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. Um, it's not anything that you can get out of that, and it's just not worth it. Okay, especially when it comes to emotional intelligence. Um, Now I'm gonna do a little bit more than 20, probably do like 24, and then we're gonna end it, or 25 ways that we can practice emotional intelligence, because I didn't realize I was moving through so fastly. We still have some time on our hands. Now, showing up that you're interested, okay, is a key factor in managing yourself and your emotions. Because it's basically you being consciously taking the time to be interested in a subject matter, whether it's business or personal, and also being interested in other people too. You know, that's not a bad thing. Um, and this is something that the next step that we don't often talk about, but a lot of people always walk around saying how they don't trust anyone. And I always make it absolutely clear that when you say things like that to the universe, that you can't trust nobody, and different things of that nature, then what do you expect? People are not going to trust you either, you know? Point blank, period. They're not going to trust you either. Okay. So, establishing trust with a person can be difficult. And once it's lost, it's very hard to regain. Being mindful that people are only human and they do make mistakes. Um, but when they offer you trust, you are inviting people to offer their trust in return. I'm not saying go out here and be all willy nilly, just trusting any old Tom, Dick, and Harry. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that you can't expect to get something that you're not giving. You get what I'm saying? That's it. Now, having emotional intelligence is your choice. So having the ability to choose how you react to a situation, you can either overreact or remain calm. But at the end of the day, it's your choice. And guess what? You are going to have to deal with the consequences. Ultimately, it's always going to be you that have to deal with the consequences. Point blank, period. Okay. Now, let's go down a few more, and then we're gonna wrap it up. So a few more things that can allow you to have more emotional intelligence is practicing your motivation. So personal skills aspect of emotional intelligence is self-motivation. It refers to our inner drive to achieve and improve our commitment to our goals, and our readiness to act on opportunities, and our overall optimism. As I've said before, to some people I come off as overly optimistic, and some people I don't, and that's okay. But it's okay for you to establish personal goals, because personal goals can provide long-term direction and short-term motivation. So grabbing a pen and paper, and thinking about where you are now and where you desire to be in the future, setting some targets for yourselves to aim at, and basing them on your strengths and making it relevant that you and only you ultimately make them exciting and achievable. It will help you to get instantly motivated, and it will keep your emotions balanced. You will be excited and just feel optimistic and happy and, ambitious about getting it done. Okay, so those personal goals are real. Speaking of real, of course, that's the next one. Being realistic. Now, when you're setting new goals, you have to be sure to give yourself realistic and clear aims to achieving the goals and understanding that change is an inevitable part of this existence. Okay. Achievement boosts confidence, and as self-confidence rises, so does the ability to achieve more. You get that? The more you achieve, the more you succeed. Like I said before, some people are like, oh, you're an overachiever, Nicole. But the more you achieve, the more you succeed, the more confident you become. And people that are not confident, people that are not driven or ambitious, yeah, they always have something negative to say. You can't allow that to affect the path that you're on and how you wish to elevate and sustain yourself in the environment around you. So keep that in mind. To be realistic with what you have going on. Keep your notes, task your goals, and different things of that nature. Now, ultimately, number 25 is positive, high vibrational thinking, decluttering the mind. As I've mentioned a lot of times on this podcast already, every Tuesday on the Clubhouse app at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have a room called Decluttering the Mind, Reframing Automatic Thoughts. So, keeping yourself motivated is important to maintain high vibrational and an optimistic mindset. Seeing problems and setbacks as learning opportunities instead of failings, and trying to avoid low vibrational people and opt to surround yourself with high vibrational, ambitious, well motivated people will have a better effect on you. Now, I really hope that you took some of these steps and tips and you're using them in your existence, because without you, then who? Period. Okay. So, with that being said, this was our AM Inspiration to Wake That Ass Up show, streaming live from YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, Anchor, Clubhouse app, Spoon app, and I think I said everything. This is Rita Nicole of RitaNicole.com, Divine Intervention Show and podcast, The Love Experiences, and the curve.net. With that being said, we are still on the look for a new host. So if that's you or you think that's you, hit us up at sandcoldfornaturals@gmail.com. With that being said, I will see y'all tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on a Monday morning. Let's get it. We're going to be talking about toxic positivity. Peace, y'all.